You ever feel like life's whispering, "It's time"? That's the whisper I followed. From the city lights of Atlanta to the soul-stretching skies of Auckland, welcome to Being, the podcast where bold moves meet deep truths. I'm Shay Love, and each week I'm sharing the messy, the magical, and meaningful moments that come with starting over and stepping fully into who you are. Have you ever felt like you're stuck in the in-between? Not quite where you were, but not yet where you're going. That's liminal space. And lately, I've been living in it. In this episode of Being, I share what walking through a dark mountain tunnel in New Zealand taught me about transition, trust, and the power of taking one step at a time, powering through to reach the light at the end of the tunnel. Last weekend, my friends invited me to join them for a day at Karangahake Gorge, just outside of Coromandel Bay. I always say yes because I want to see everything. I'm eager to explore new places in New Zealand, and I'm never opposed to a hike or a walk, something that gets me moving. And this trip felt especially exciting because it was somewhere I hadn't been yet. We headed out mid-morning with an hour-and-a-half drive ahead of us, and for some reason, from the moment my friend picked me up, a phrase began floating around in my head: liminal space. When we arrived at the gorge, I noticed there were multiple trails, each offering a different path through the gorge. Some paths were longer, some steeper, some were shorter and flat, but every path eventually led to one thing: a tunnel through the base of the mountain. And the moment I saw it, something in me recognized what I was walking into. You know, we don't always have to climb over the mountain. Sometimes we can walk through it, power through the mountain. As we stepped into the tunnel, I was immediately struck by the darkness. It was thick, still, and a little unsettling. Tight walls, damp air, an unclear path stretched ahead, and I'll be honest, my first feeling was a mix of fear and hesitation. But with each step, something changed. I began to notice things. The ground beneath me, it wasn't rugged, it was level, smooth, solid. My eyes started adjusting to the darkness. Slowly, shapes became clear, and every 30 feet or so, there was a soft light overhead, just enough to guide the next few steps. The kind of light that reminds you, power through. The walls streaked with moisture revealed water-stained patterns. It was like art, born of time and pressure. And in the stillness, I noticed something else. My own voice echoing, bouncing softly off the walls. There was something childlike about it, light, playful, almost like joy found its way in. Suddenly, the darkness, the unknown, it didn't feel scary anymore. It felt alive, expansive, freeing. And I could choose how to move through this tunnel. I could fear it, or I could just feel it. I could rush through it, or I could just receive it. That space, the in-between, the not quite here, not quite there, yeah, it had a name: liminal space, the phrase that had captivated me earlier in the trip. A liminal space is that in-between place, that transitional zone. It can be a hallway, an airport terminal, or an empty room, or it could be emotional, between what was and what is not yet. The space between a job you've outgrown and the work that's calling you. The space between a life you've known and the one that you're creating. I realized I'm in that space, a liminal space. The space between my old life in Atlanta and my unfolding life in Auckland. The space between years-deep friendships and the brave work of building new ones. The space between the comfort of what I've always known and the quiet invitation of the unknown. The space between being known, seen, celebrated, and learning how to be okay with being unknown, even invisible for a while. The space between who I thought I was and who I'm becoming. The space between planting a seed and watching it root, push through, and finally bloom. The space between stability and expansion, between certainty and possibility, between the dark and the light. And let me tell you, this space is not always cozy. It can be very lonely. It can stretch you in ways, uncomfortable ways, you never imagined. But it also shapes you. It's where your faith gets louder than your fear, where your vision gets clearer, even if the road doesn't. It's where transformation stirs until one day you realize you're not the same. You've grown. Honestly, these past few months have felt a lot like that tunnel, trying to find a new rhythm, a new voice, trying to understand how I move from being the familiar version of myself, a radio host, a voiceover artist, always in the mix, to someone who is letting herself be seen in a new light, a podcaster, a guide, a creator, a woman talking about what's moved her deeply. And here's the thing about liminal space. It's not just a waiting room. It's a becoming room. So if you're in a tunnel season of your life where things feel murky, unclear, and unfamiliar, this is your reminder. You don't need to see the whole path. You just need to trust the next step. Trust the lights that appear at each step when you're ready. And trust that you're not behind. You're just in the process. The in-between is where healing happens, where courage finds you, where the light at the end of the tunnel isn't a finish line. It's a mirror, reflecting what you've grown to become. You've been listening to Being from Atlanta to Auckland. I'm Shay Love, and if this episode made you feel seen, maybe it sparked something deep or reminded you that change is possible, go ahead and follow, subscribe, and send it to a friend. This journey is just starting. Keep stretching, keep rising, and always keep being.